Hey, Brees.
Hi.
Hey, Mary. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Reese, is that your little sister in your profile picture?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's a really cute picture.
Thanks.
I don't know. Sometimes when all the thumbnails, when a bunch of people join, I can't see the thumbnails quite as much.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cute. How are you all this morning?
Good. How are you?
Good, sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
This overcast day makes for a day that, you just want to sleep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you all have questions on yesterday's classwork, or are you just here to see today's stuff, or?
15 and 16 were kind of weird from yesterday.
Okay.
But.
All right, let's see. I can't get some of this stuff erased, so I'm trying to figure out if I can get a different one open. That's better. So 15 and 16. Those are the ones with fractions, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Mary Faith, were you stuck on the same ones, baby girl, or did you have other questions on yesterday's as well?
I actually haven't gotten to the textbook yet.
From yesterday?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're still working on the study guide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If I were you, while I was doing 15 and 16, if you have an extra sheet of paper, baby girl, I would go ahead and write these down. Okay?
Okay.
Because they are, as far as I'm concerned, some of the more tough ones, from yesterday's classwork. I would definitely say.
Okay.
Hey, Reese, or Mary Faith, either one, if you guys wouldn't mind telling me once I get over here, I can't see the book.
Yeah, I have the book right in front of me.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind telling me the points, that would be great.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
9/2, 1.
9/2, 1.
And -7/2, 7.
Okay, so the very first thing that we want to do, and basically your steps are, but you want to find out, do we have slope? Because sometimes slope is given. So do we have slope? And if not, we need to find it. So that's like the first one, either find or it's given. So do we have slope? And then number 2, after you find the slope, you want to choose a point. It doesn't matter which one. And then you'll write the equation. Those are kind of the general steps for point slope form that we've done so far. Okay. Just so that you guys kind of have okay, this is what we're going to do. Okay. So for this one, we're either going to find it or it's given. And that's what we're on now. So it wasn't given, but we're given 2 points. And we know that we can find it when we're given 2 points because this is the slope formula in general. And we've been having this whole time. It's the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's the slope formula. So we're going to plug in our points. So we have m equals, and I'm going to make this this is going to be my subset 2. Okay, so that's going to be this piece. And this one is going to be 1. So that's going to be this piece. And so you know that you want your coordinates on top of each other. So the top is going to look like 7 minus 1. Okay. Does that make sense to both of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You good, Mary Faith?
Yes.
And then the bottom is going to be negative 7 halves minus 9 halves. Okay. So basically these, I've got my y coordinates on the top, right? This is the y. And I've got my x coordinates on the bottom, right?
Right.
So now 7 minus 1 is 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Negative 7. Now we have common denominators on the bottom. Thank goodness we don't have to get a common denominator. These fractions on the bottom already have a common denominator. So we don't have to get one. It's already there. So all we have to do is combine our numerators, which is a negative 7 and a negative 9. So that's going to be negative 16 over 2. Y'all with me so far?
Yes, ma'am.
So would
Okay.
it be an 8 over negative 8?
Yes. So that bottom one then reduces to negative 8. So now we have 8 over negative 8, which we can then reduce to negative 1. So our slope is m equals negative 1. And now we can pick any point we want to. Doesn't matter which one, right? And substitute it back in. Is that what we're doing on this? No, we're not doing point slope form. I probably just totally confused you all. Well, no, because actually you kind of do the same thing. All right. Oh, praise God. I'm already working on the weekend homework, so please forgive me. But actually we do the same thing. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for protecting my sweet children. So now we're just going to plug in a point. We're going to choose a point, which that's the next thing that we're going to do. And Mrs. Sparks always chooses the one with the lowest numbers. And you're looking at this right now going, oh, Miss Sparks, both of those points look ugly. But I would actually pick this one because it's got the 1 in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to plug that back
Where are you
in.
at?
I'm sorry?
Where are you at on what assignment are you doing?
I'm doing number 15 from yesterday's classwork. Who is this? Is this Eli?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm doing number 15 from yesterday's classwork, numbers 3 through 21. Have you gotten to that one yet, love?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just trying to find it.
Okay, it's number 15. And remember, guys, if you don't pick Mrs. Sparks's point, it doesn't make any difference because you can always choose any point because all of these points that we're dealing with are on the same line. I just like to pick one that's a little simpler as far as numbers are concerned. So I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to substitute it back into the y equals mx plus b. So now I'm here. I'm writing the equation, plugging in what I know. All right. So I know that the y is 1. I know my slope is negative 1 because we just found that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that my x coordinate is 9 over 2, which I know y'all are very excited about working with a fraction because that makes y'all happy. Hang on just one second. Makes me so mad. Can y'all still see it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now I'm going to multiply a negative 1 times a 9 over 2, which is going to give me negative 9 over 2. And now plus b. And we're solving for b. So that means I've got to add 9/2, right, to both sides, which I know y'all are excited about. So what do I want to do? I have to turn this 1 into with a fraction so that I can add them. And 1 equals 2/2, and that would make that have a common denominator, wouldn't it?
Yes.
So now I've got 11/2. This is kind of my side work over here. I did definitely run out of room down here. So I have 11/2 equals b. So now I have that other piece of information. So I'm going to plug everything back in because I've got m and now I've got b. So my equation for this line looks like this. Y equals -x, because I don't really have to write the 1, but if you wanted to, just to make it clear, you certainly could, plus 11/2. Why do I feel like that's not what I got yesterday?
Yeah, whenever I wrote it down, it was something different, but this made sense too. I just wrote this down.
You know why it doesn't? Oh, I didn't even add this right. Help me,
Right.
Lord Jesus.
What'd you do wrong?
7 minus 1. I put it as 8. Help Miss Sparks. Lord Jesus. I was like, because yesterday when I wrote it down on the board, is that why you were confused, darling? No wonder you were confused. I'm so sorry.
I didn't catch it either.
We're all sleepy this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to change.
Okay.
That's going to change everything.
Yep.
Oh, oops. It's not going to change that part, though, is it? Because my point is still the same. Am I doing anything else wrong? I remember the bottom being -8 for sure. I just want to make sure I'm not making any more mistakes for you guys. Miss Sparks needs to wake up. Because I know the fractions can be confusing as it is, and so my heart's breaking that I did that. I was like, oh, Lord. Help Miss Sparks. Yeah. Eli, did you write it down yesterday in class? Or did anybody else write it down?
I did, but
I do, but it's different than what you have, so it may be wrong.
No, if you wrote it down in class, is that what I had in class?
I think so, maybe.
Can you tell?
Like -3/4 is the answer.
To the slope? Do you have m equals -3/4? Is that what you had, Reed? And then I plugged it back into the equation, right?
Yes, ma'am. And then b equals -4/3.
Okay. Is that what you wrote down, Reese? Because you and Eli aren't in the same class, right? And I know I did it for both.
right. I remember something with a 3/4.
Yeah, I remember the 3/4 too, because that's how I was like, why did my slope turn out to be 1?
Yeah. But I mean, I erased the rest.
Yeah, well, I might not have even done it right in class yesterday because now I'm getting,
Miss Spark, can you scroll up
and
a
I
little
love
bit?
fractions. What, love?
Can you scroll up a little bit?
Like that?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, so basically now I'm going to do my side work over here then. I have to turn the 1 into something with a common denominator of 8. So I'm going to make it 8/8 because I'm going to add 27/8 because when I multiply -3 times 9, I get a -27. When I multiply 4 times 2, I get an 8. So in order to get B all by itself, I have to add 27/8 to both sides. So that's going to give me 35/8. So now I'm going to plug in. So 35/8 equals B. And I'm going to plug it back in. I get Y equals -3/4. So even what I did in class yesterday.
Where did you get the 35 from?
I'm sorry?
Where did you get the 35 from?
When you add 8 and 27. This is my side work. Because I'm adding 27/8 to both sides. And this is my side work over here because I have to turn this 1. I have to get it a common denominator because I can't just add 1 to 27/8. I have to change it to 8/8, and then I add 27/8 to it.
Okay.
So the answer to this problem is this, and I know that it's that. So it's Y equals -3/4 x plus 35/8. That is the answer. Sorry about the roundabout way of getting to that.
It's okay.
I'm just making sure everybody got that. Eli, did you get that?
Yes, ma'am.
Alrighty. I'm not going to move on to 16 till y'all are ready. Just let me know.
I'm ready when you are.
Okay. Mary Faith, are you good, darling?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, I'm going to do number 16. And then how were the rest of them, Reese?
See, I only got to 16. Like I didn't get more than that.
All right, so we can work on some of the rest of them. And I know, Mary Faith, do you have questions over the study guide, baby? Or you just didn't get done?
I just didn't get it done.
Oh, okay, but you're okay. You don't have any questions. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, good. All right, let's see if Miss Sparks is more awake this time. Okay, so we have -5 and 3/4. Tell me if I write it down right, okay? Is that what you have? -2 and then -3/4. Did I get it right?
Yes, ma'am.
Read. Okay. So once again, if we don't have the slope, we need to find the slope. So that's our first thing, and we're going to use that slope. This is the slope formula. So we have negative 3/4 minus 3/4 on the top because those are our y's.
Right.
And then at the bottom, I have negative 2 minus a minus 5. So we have common denominators on the top. Yay. So we don't have to do anything there. So that's going to be negative 6/4. And then negative 2 minus a minus 5. Make sure I do my math right this time, everybody. That's going to be the same as negative 2 plus 5, which is going to give me 3. And negative 6/4 reduces to negative 3/2. And then that's all over 3. Remember that a fraction bar is really the same exact thing as a division. So this actually equals negative 3/2 divided by 3/1, which then is negative 3/2 times 1/3. Because you keep, flip, and then change. So then that reduces to, and then you simplify before you multiply. So now you have negative 1/2. So that's my slope for that problem. Okay? Did everybody keep up with that? And is it okay if I erase it?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to write my slope over here, but so that I have room to do the rest of the work. I'm going to erase this. All righty. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a point, and it doesn't matter which one, and substitute it back in. And once again, I always choose the one with the smallest numbers that I can. That's just what I do to make the math as simple as possible. So I'm going to choose this point right here, and I'm going to be plugging it back into this formula. So I have negative 3/4 equals negative 1/2, then substitute my x, plus b, and I'm solving to find b. So this problem right here, I can simplify before I multiply. So now I have negative 3/4 equals negative 1 times negative 1 is a positive. So that turns into a positive. Plus b. So now I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides to solve for b. But once again, I notice that over here, I've got a fraction with a 4. So when I subtract this 1 over here, I have to make it something with a common denominator with negative 3/4. So here's my side work. Minus 4/4. Which that's going to give me negative 7/4. So now I have b and I have m. So I'm going to write the equation, negative 1/2 x minus 7/4. So find the slope, choose a point, solve for b, and then write equation. And I think you were supposed to go to 21. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
All right. Do y'all want me to just work some of those with you?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Okay. Eli, how you doing? Is he still with us?
Good.
Okay. Did you finish already?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good. So you've already done, actually, I know this. And Reese, I think you have too. You've already watched the video for today too, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you all have questions on that?
It was actually kind of confusing to me, but
Yeah, it can be. How many problems did I give you? I gave y'all some problems too, didn't I?
it was like one problem and 2 questions, I think.
Okay. I can try and work those with you too.
Okay.
Eli, did you check your odd ones with the back of the book?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. So working these will be maybe helpful. All right. So on this one, we're supposed to write an equation of the line shown. So we're given 2 points, 4, 1, and 3, -3. 4, 1. Hold on just 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay, 4, 1, and 3, -3. Did I write them right? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is find the slope. So we have -3 minus 1 and 3 minus 4. That gives us -4 over -1, which is 4. So our slope is 4. And then we're going to pick a point. And I'm going to pick the one with the 1 in it. And we're going to write it back in to our slope intercept form. We're going to put 1 where the y is. We're going to put in our slope, which is 4. And our x coordinate is also 4. And we're going to solve for b. So we chose a point. and we plugged it back into the formula. And then we're going to solve for B. So 1 equals 16 plus B. Subtract 16 from both sides. We have negative 15 equals B. So now we'll rewrite the equation with the information that we know. So we have M and we have B. So Y equals 4x minus 15. Is that what you got, Eli?
I got that.
Okay, good. How about you, Eli? Is he still with me?
No, ma'am.
Oh, it's not? Do you see how I got that? Does that help? What do you...
Yes,
What
ma'am,
is
that helps.
that? Okay, good. I'm glad. I think sometimes the biggest problem on some of these is when you're calculating slope, to make sure that you're plugging in your points correctly. And I think on this next one, I'm going to go back to my vertical because instead of the horizontal, which way do you all like it better? When you write it vertically or horizontally when you're writing your points down? Does anybody have a preference?
I don't have a preference, but I do mine horizontally.
You do yours horizontally, but you don't have a preference. How about you, Reese?
I don't really care.
Okay. So, Mary Faith, you write them like this.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Eli, how are you writing your points down when you write them? Or are you trying to plug them straight from the book into the formula?
Just plug them straight in.
Okay.
Miss Sparks.
And Mary, yes.
After you do this one, can you do number 10?
Yes.
All right, thanks.
Okay, so and 10 was tricky also. Given 15 and 16 with the fractions and number 10, you really have to watch the wording of the word problem to get that one. All right, number 18, 0 minus 2 and then negative 2 minus 3. So that gives me a negative 2 over negative 5. Then reduces to 2 over 5. So I'm going to pick a point, and I'm going to do this point, and I'm going to plug it back in. So I've got 0.
Why are you doing 0 minus 2 instead of 2 minus 0?
It doesn't matter which way you start.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
I just picked the second point as my y2, x2.
Okay.
It doesn't matter which point you pick. You could have done 2 minus 0, 3 minus a minus 2, and you would have gotten a positive 2/5. Is that how you did it? It doesn't matter which point. It just matters that the x, like, see how x2, y2 on top of each other in the formula. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter which one goes first. You're still going to be okay.
Okay.
It's still going to be the change in y over the change in x. It's always going to be this. And you're going to see this in a lot of videos. The change, which is a triangle of y over the change in x. It doesn't matter which one you write first. If you would have done it the other way, you would have automatically gotten 2 over 5 instead of negative 2 over negative 5. But it doesn't matter. Okay, so now 2 over 5 is my m, and my x is negative 2 plus 5. So 0 equals negative 4/5 plus b. So now I'm going to add 4/5. We don't have to get the denominator because we're adding it to 0. And so I get 4/5 equal b. So now I have m and I have b. So I can write it into my y equals mx plus b. So I've got y equals 2/5 x plus 4/5. And that's number 18. How'd everybody do on that one?
I got it right.
Yay!
So 4/5 equals B?
Yes.
Okay.
So the slope is 2/5 and the y-intercept or b is 4/5. And so my equation then looks like y equals 2/5 x plus 4/5. I'm trying to leave it up the longest and erase everything else. Okay, number 10. So the problem reads, an internet service provider charges $18 per month plus an initial setup fee. One customer paid a total of $81 for 2 months of service. Describe and correct the error in finding the setup fee. Yesterday, for some reason, when I read this initially, it was confusing to me because for some reason in my head, I automatically almost did what they did and put the $18 as the setup fee because I read the first sentence a little too quickly, which, that's the key to word problems is being able to maneuver the information. But if you read that first sentence too quickly, you're thinking, oh, that $18 is a setup fee. But it's not. It's $18 per month plus an initial setup fee. And then they want you to find the setup fee. So let's take that information. Oops, this is number 10. So they charge $18 per month. So that's going to be 18 per one. Okay. And a customer got charged for $81 for 2 months. So this is kind of what this looks like. It's there plus there's some setup fee. So hopefully you can see that this 81 over 2 or 18 over 1, these are like the change in y over the change in x. Okay? So what you're going to do is plug in the 81 and then you're going to plug in the 18 because that's your change in y over change in x, and then you're going to multiply that by 2 and then add b. So the error was that the person put in the slope for the setup fee, and they're trying to find the setup fee, which in this case is going to be the b. So to get it, this is what you would do. So their error is that, and the setup fee is $45. So that's number 10. Does that help?
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
What was their mistake again?
They put in $18 as the setup fee or the B. And the 18 should have gone in for the M because it was the slope. They charge $18 per month plus a setup fee. All right. See? And then this is how it should have been written. The 81 equals 18 times 2 plus B. Do you see that?
Yes.
The only part that confuses me is how you know, like, when to put what numbers. Like for this problem.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely was a little bit trickier, especially the wording on that one. And the wording is definitely the key to all word problems. So kind of how you know on this one, Reese, if you're looking at it, you see that the internet service provider charges 18 per month. And a lot of times that's what I wrote here was this 18 per one.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're thinking about slope and all of that stuff, you're kind of thinking about a ratio, 18 over 1. So 18 per month of some other common ratios that we have that you don't even think that they're ratios is a lot of times if your parents have ever talked about, or if you've been shopping with them for a car, you'll talk about, oh, that car gets 45, which would be a good car, by the way, miles per gallon. That's a common ratio that we talk about. We don't even think about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's a common ratio. When somebody talks about how much they make per hour, or what the minimum wage is, that's $7.20. $7.20 per hour. These are all some common ratios. So when you look at that problem, they charge $18 per month. So you're thinking ratio. Well, the slope is a ratio. So when you're looking at word problems, and the reason why I'm taking a little time to talk about this is there's things like this on the ACT and the SAT a lot. So I'm trying to get you all to be familiar with what a ratio looks like in words and to think, oh, those are ratios. And those are ratios that those don't stress you out because you hear them every day,
Number 3.
I'm sorry?
Can you do number 3?
I will do number 3. But so on back to this a little bit. So when you're looking at a word problem, you want to make sure that when you see these things that you're putting them kind of where they make sense. But at the first, if you read that first sentence a little too quickly, an internet service provider charges $18 per month plus a setup fee. If you're kind of skimming, which all of us are guilty of skimming because we have so much reading to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So see that if you're not breaking it down, you might see that as just like this student did. And they thought that the initial setup fee was $18 a month and they were looking for the slope, but that's not true. So if you kind of slow down and you look for words like per, P-E-R, that is going to be a ratio. And you want to think to yourself, do I have all of the parts to the ratio? Does that help a little or still confusing?
It's still kind of confusing, but okay.
But so what you would have seen is that you had 18 per month, and then the person was charged $81 for 2 months. So you know that if it's $18 for every month, this if there were no setup fee, it would be 36 for 2 months, wouldn't it? If you're just doubling. So obviously there's a difference between this 81 and this 36 for that particular problem. Does that make sense a little bit? But then we have to plug it into an equation. And what it's trying to show you is that there's always an equation to be able to find missing pieces of information. And as much as we don't like word problems, we're like, how will we use algebra every day? And that's kind of, you know, if somebody asks you, hey, what's the setup fee? You probably, Reese, would have just done that. You would have, well, I was charged $81 for 2 months, and they say the real charge is $18 per month. So that would really be 36 for 2 months if it was this. You probably would have just done this. So the setup fee is $45, which is what we found as the y-intercept.
Okay.
You would have done that a long time ago. So there's algebra in everyday life. You just didn't put it in a formula. All right, number 3, write an equation of the line that passes through the given point and has the slope m. So you were given a point 1, 1, and the slope m. So you'll plug in what you know into this formula.
Miss Sparks, what problem is this?
Number 3 on yesterday's classwork.
Oh, okay.
And then now I have slope and I have the b, so I'm going to plug it back in. That's like example 1 on yesterday's study guide, Mary Faith. Okay?
Oh, okay. Okay. I see that.
Okay. The study guide should have all the examples that you need to kind of help you walk through whatever you're doing today. Number 15 and 16 were a little harder. Number 10 was, you know, definitely a bit more challenging. Is there any other ones that anybody wants me to do from yesterday's classwork, and who has questions? And then, so I'll kind of finish that up. And then is there anybody who has questions about the video or the questions from, what is it, 3?
Miss Sparks, can you do number 20?
20, absolutely. Be happy to. Okay, number 20. The points are -1 and 3. And 2. Oh, that's a decimal. And 0.5. Miss Sparks hates decimals. 0.5 isn't too bad, so I won't get whiny. 0.5 minus 3 and 2 minus a -1. So 0.5 minus 3 gives me -3.5 over 2 plus 1, or 2 minus -1, which is the same as 2 plus 1. So I've got 3.5, -3.5 over 3. I personally would probably turn that to a fraction so I could get a normal slope. But how many of you left it as a decimal? Everybody? Anyone?
Just be honest.
I hadn't done that one yet.
You hadn't? Sophia, are you there?
Yes.
Are you still with me? Yes. Did you leave it as a decimal or change it to a fraction?
I don't think I did this
Or
one.
you don't think you've done it?
Was this assignment was along with the study guide yesterday?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And we did, what was it, 3 through 21 all, and then the study guide problems. Okay, let me get a vote from everybody that's on Math Lab right now. How many of you would like for me to leave it as a decimal?
Decimal.
Any decimal? Okay. All right, so I'll leave it as is. So that means my slope, I'm going to go ahead and plug in, and I'm actually going to plug in this point here. So 3 equals, and then I'll have negative 3.5 over 3 times negative 1 plus b. So I'm going to have a positive 3.5 over 3 plus b. And so I've got to convert this to a fraction with a common denominator of 3. So this is going to be on this side, that's going to be 9 over 3 equals 3.5 over 3 plus b. So now I'm going to subtract 3.5 over 3 from both sides. And then that's going to give me 9.0, 0.5, 5.5 over 3 equals b.
Does that say 9.0?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I'm subtracting 3.5 from 9.0. So now I'm going to plug in, I got y equals 3.5 over 3x plus 5.5 over 3. That is ugly.
I agree. I don't like decimals.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. This is probably, there's the answer for that one, and you can definitely leave it like that. But I probably up here would have definitely converted that to, I would have converted this like this right here into negative 3.5 like this, which would be a negative 7 over 2 divided by 3 over 1, which is negative 7 over 2 times 1 over 3, negative 7/6. That's what I would have done. And then this answer. So my answer, if it was a fraction, would look like this. But they're the same thing. But that's what I would have done. Actually, this isn't. I might have done something wrong with my...
Can you do number 21? 21.
Yes. I did something wrong. I know what I did wrong. This was supposed to be a negative. Ugh. Eli, are you still with me?
Ma'am.
I needed this. Oh, maybe not. Okay. I was thinking I need to re-show you that problem maybe tomorrow, or I'll show that one in class tomorrow. I'm going to move to 21 because I have to start my other math lab. At 11. Sophia.
She's not on anything.
Oh, she's not? Okay. All right, 21. 1, -1. And -2, -2. So -2 minus a -1 over -2 minus 1. So -2 minus a -1 is -2 plus 1. That's to be -1 over -3, which is a positive 1/3. And then I'm going to plug in -1 equals 1/3 times 1 plus b. Because that's y equals mx plus b. -1 equals 1/3 plus b. Subtract 1/3 from both sides. So I'm going to actually, before I do that, good habit to make, and I was doing this better in class yesterday. Whenever you're having to subtract, which you know you're going to, whenever you're having to subtract a fraction from one side to the other, and you know that your other side is a whole integer, go ahead and convert this side as your next step to a fraction with a denominator that works. So I know that I've got to have a denominator of 3. And in order for this to be a -1, this is an equivalent fraction. So just go ahead and rewrite it as that. So that step is taken care of. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Okay. 4/3, okay, -4/3 b. So now I have 1/3 x minus 4/3 as that one.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Did you all want me to do got the guided practice number 1 for 4.3? Or are you good?
I think I'm good. I'm good.
How about you, Eli?
I'm confused.
Okay. All right. So let's move to it first. The confusing part, perhaps, is the fact that we're introducing another formula. And I've really been thinking and praying a lot about that because I understand this is a lot of formulas for you guys and a lot of new formulas. So I think I'm going to talk about that in class tomorrow because you have, so far, we've learned 3 primary formulas in the 3 short lessons, or actually, because we learned slope last chapter, but we've learned a number of formulas. So this is another formula. It's called point slope because it contains a point on the line and it
What
contains
assignment is this?
I'm sorry?
What assignment is this?
This is 4.3 and you watched a short video on it and you were supposed to do 1 guided practice problem and I think a few problems from the book. Is that correct? No? Yes? I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm looking just to be sure that I was. So you were supposed to watch a 4.3 Ed puzzle video and complete the guided practice problem on page 242. And you were also supposed to do 3 through 9 odd only. Right? So that's what I was working on. Is that what you want me to do?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the guided practice problem says write an equation in point slope form of the line that passes through the point -1 and 4 and has a slope of 2. So this is a new formula, and it's y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. So you know how the slope, oops. Oh, please, Lord, help me. The slope formula was m equals, and you had the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We're only dealing with 1 point. And these little subscripts right here and right here is just to let you know that it's some, when it has a subscript, which means the little number is written below the line, it's some number on the line. Or some point. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Some point on the line. And there's the x coordinate and the y coordinate. And the slope is still m. M is the slope. And this y and this x is just a part of the equation, just like it was in slope intercept. So this question says, I have a slope of negative 2. That's given in the actual problem itself. And I have a point of negative 1 and 4. And this is called point slope form because it has a point and a slope in it. This y, because it doesn't have a subscript, so it's not referring to a specific point on the line like this one is. This one is actually referring to just y and x, our good old variables that we always have in a problem. So that's going to be y minus 4 equals m, which is 2, x, and then it's minus, and then a minus 1. So now I can simplify that a little bit more by doing this. I'm not simplifying by distributing the 2. I'm simplifying because I don't want to have x minus minus 1. So that's going to become x plus 1. So now I'm done. You are finished. I have written this equation into point slope form. All I've done is taken the slope and the point that was given and plugged it into that formula. And that is the answer that they're looking for. Do y'all want to do the ones in the book? And the other part?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
How about you, Eli? Okay. So we were supposed to do 3 through... Bye-bye, sweetie. Have a good day.
Me too.
So we were supposed to do 3 through 9 odd only. And the problem, the first one on number 3, you are given the slope of 2 and the point 2, 1. I'm just going to rewrite my equation. Okay, I have a slope of 2 and a point of 2, 1. So y minus 1 equals 2 times x minus 2. So I'm just plugging in the 2 for that, the 1 for that, and the 2 for that. That's number 3. Number 5, I have a point of 7 and negative 1, and I have a slope of negative 6. So I've got y minus a minus 1 equals, and then the slope is what? Negative 6, and then x minus 7. And because this has a minus minus in it, I want to simplify that by doing this. So that's my final answer. Is this making any more sense, Eli?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you get both 3 and 5 written down?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, let's work on number 7 and 9 together. And then has that gotten everything for you and answered all of your questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Number 7. The points are -8 and 2, and the slope is 5. So I've got y minus 2. You see where I get that?
Yes, ma'am.
5 minus x minus a minus 8. This is one of the ones where you kind of have to simplify because you've got a minus minus. And if you begin to see that, you wouldn't have to do this step every time. It's just up to you, you know. And then number 9, we have the points -11 and -3, and m equals -9. So we've got y minus a minus 3. Whoops, my bad. And then we plug in our -9, which is our slope, and then x minus a minus 11. So this would turn into y plus 3 equals -9 x plus 11. So that's number 9. Did that help?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. You have any other questions for me? Are you good on the classwork from yesterday?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. All right, not a problem. Have a blessed day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.